Kahurangi National Park extends over 400,000 hectares of northwest and south island of New Zealand. It is one of our largest and newest national parks. It also has a greater variety of landforms and plant and animal communities than any other park. However, much of it is under attack from pests like possums, stoats, rats and wasps. Beginning in 2001, a battle has been taking place on the eastern flanks of the park to control these alien invaders. The aim is to protect species that live here, but also to improve habitat for those that have been lost, like great spotted kiwi and blue duck. Much of this work has been done by a group of volunteers working alongside the Department of Conservation. They are Friends of Flora. To keep up their vital work, they need your help. Because Kahurangi National Park was largely glacier-free during the ice ages, it became an ark or refuge for species, home to half of our 2,400 native plants and 80% of our alpine plants. The long-living, impressive alpine dragon tree, Dracophyllum traversii, is a dominant feature, as are the impressively large but very rare carnivorous Paulifantus snail. It's also home to our smallest giant wetters and our largest cave spiders. The flora catchment on the eastern flanks of Kahurangi National Park is largely virgin beech forest. It is a 45-minute drive from Motueka. It was a group of people who know and love the Flora River catchment that first formed Friends of Flora. Two of the founders are Marianne Ewers and Bill Rook.
Friends of Flora is a group of local people who are passionate about bringing back the natural biodiversity and bringing back a healthy ecosystem up here in the Flora area. We have a very close relationship with the Department of Conservation. We very much rely on their scientific input and validation of the project.
Friends of Flora have extended predator control to over 8,000 hectares of waterways, forest and subalpine shrublands, through which the dedicated volunteers have laid 150 kilometres of trap lines. Setting and maintaining all the hundreds of traps continues to be a major task for Friends of Flora, but further extending the network and laying new trap lines is thankfully coming to an end.
What we're doing here this weekend is we're laying out a brand new trap line of 50 stoat boxes. This is the outermost line, and it'll probably be the last one we put in for Friends of Flora. If we go any further, we're sort of going over a cliff.
Pest control through trapping is the major work that Friends of Flora do. The major pests we have are the stoat, which is the one we are trapping for mostly here. We also have some rat traps on some of our lines and some possum. Stoats majorly affect the birds. They are voracious eaters. The stoat can swim and it can climb, and a lot of our perching birds are also hole dwellers in the trees. So it's so easy for these stoats to just climb in. They will take the parent first, and then they will take either the egg or the young. And there's no defence. Being a land of birds with no mammalian predators up until the last 150 years, they haven't built a defence against these predators.
These are the most humane traps you can possibly imagine. The animal is killed instantly, and as an example of how powerful they are, I'll just put a bit of wood on there and you'll see the plate, the mechanism come down onto the plate.
It was the deathly silence in these forests, and discovering that bird numbers and species had declined markedly in the flora catchment, that spurred some locals to create Friends of Flora. It is most heartening to know that regular counts now show that the birds are coming back. 2 of the species monitored are bellbirds and riflemen. The increase in their numbers is a positive sign of the improving health of their forest habitat. Down on the forest floor, robins are an increasingly common and welcome sight. And all around, equally welcome, is the sound of tomtit, brown creepers, grey warblers and kakariki. Once scarce, weka are again familiar residents in subalpine grasslands and bush edges of the Flora catchment. Above the bushline, kea, the world's only alpine parrot and a threatened species, appears to be doing better here than in most other areas throughout the South Island. Friends of Flora understand that trapping alone will not secure a long-term future for the precious species of this area. This is why they support the Department of Conservation in the combined use of aerial 1080 poison and trapping to control predators in the Flora and Deep Creek area. Protecting and enhancing existing species is only one part of the challenge of Friends of Flora. A much tougher challenge has been to bring back some of the important species that were lost from this area.
One of the major projects Friends of Flora has done thus far is to bring back the whio, the blue duck, to the flora, because we were down to one lone male. We almost lost them. And we now have a sustainable breeding population. The trial that we tried was reasonably new back at the time, and that was to bring juvenile wild birds and putting the juveniles into the flora stream before they could fly, in the hope that they would be so used to their surroundings by the time they fly they would stay. Very luckily that's what did happen, and they became our base population.
The blue duck, or whio, is a very, very endangered species. It's regarded by scientists today as probably the most ancient duck on the planet due to its long isolation in New Zealand. It's one of only 4 torrent ducks in the world. It has to live on a stream or a river with fast-flowing water, a good bush cover, and the water must be pristine because these ducks feed on insect larvae. They are endangered because of habitat loss, because a lot of our rivers are polluted, and we've cleared all our lowlands. They've been forced back into the hills and into the mountains, and the other problem they've had to face is mammalian predators. They seem to think that there is possibly 3/4 of the remaining population are probably males. The females are killed on the nest by introduced predators, mainly stoats. So we lose the females, we lose the chicks. It's a huge conservation effort to try and save them from extinction.
All FOF members are volunteers. The only 2 paid people we have contract workers we have looking after our Great Spotted Kiwi project. Because of the nature of the project, we had to have the specialist people in to run that. But they head the project, but volunteers work with them and are being trained to do the work.
In 2010, Friends of Flora, in partnership with Department of Conservation, brought back Great Spotted Kiwi into the area because they died out about 30 years previously. We brought in 12 kiwi from near Boulder Lake, further west in Kahurangi National Park. Those source sites didn't have any pest control, so the idea being that bringing them here, they'd be better off than where they were. Last summer, it was great excitement. We had 3 pairs started to incubate, and we hatched 1 chick. Each of the kiwi are fitted with radio transmitters, which we can pick up using aerials. We monitor them fortnightly for 3 reasons. First is to see where they are. Secondly, to tell whether they're alive. And the third reason is to see whether they're breeding. Once we've determined that a kiwi pair is breeding, we can go in and find the nest and very, very quietly, because they're susceptible to disturbance, install infrared trail cameras near the nest. And the idea is that the cameras will pick up comings and goings from the nest, and that will enable us to see whether a chick hatches, and on the less good side, whether there's any predators who might come along and attack the chick. From a combination of our monitoring and the fact that we had a chick born, we were confident that the flora is good habitat for great spotted kiwi. Last March we brought in 12 kiwi from New Creek down near the Buller, and then in May a further 8 kiwi from the Upper Roaring Lion. 3 of the pairs that we brought in have actually incubated and bred this very first year, which is fantastic news.
We rely on funding and sponsorship to keep the project going, and we have some major sponsors. The main one is the Lottery Grants Board. That has allowed us to be able to do the Kiwi project, and we're thankful for that. We have also had funding from the World Wildlife Fund and BirdLife International, and there are many others local who have supported us in monetary terms and other ways have helped us, and we've been grateful for everything that we have received. Without that, we could not do the work we're doing up here.
The bold steps taken by Friends of Flora, Department of Conservation and their partners has successfully brought back some of our rarest species to the area. However, the future viability of great spotted kiwi, seal, blue duck, and many other precious animals and plants in the flora catchment of Kahurangi National Park relies on the future viability of the volunteer organisation that protects them. We hope you can help.